food ration. The other one is said the time frame in the cash, in the food distribution for Ramadan. What is the time frame that you're expecting? Because when I'm asking these questions, I'm also a member of a parliament from that region. So we are getting the same situation or the same responses. If I ask the same questions, maybe you'll give me from a constituency, maybe you'll give me something similar to this. So on that, the other one, you are not visible when you're distributing this food, so that we also know there is these activities you are carrying out. The other time I was in Garissa, I was invited by the sub-county commissioner to a function that we are going to do some food distribution, water tracking program we are going to launch. So they asked me to come. But unfortunately, the function was for the county. So the county, even if the vehicles who are going to do the water tracking, some of the food that was coming from you guys, but who took the credit is the county government. They never involved us, they never called us, we were in Garissa. In fact, one of the MPs complained and told the governor that you never invited us for this function, because he was also invited by, I think, his sub-county commissioner. So when you are doing these kind of programs, can we have the participation of, so that you don't also ask us these many questions, funny questions and hard questions. Let us be involved in these programs. We represent people. This is coming from the national government. The governor might have taken credit for what you have done. So the people of Garissa know you have not, because the officer in charge of NDMA was fully involved and was there, but he couldn't say anything. There was also another activity of bursaries which were being given by the national government. But Equity Bank took the whole credit that it is them who are. So the visibility of the national government activities are not involving the leaders. Participation or involvement of the members of parliament in the sub-county steering committee group. There is some resistance from both the county government and the county commissioners, the offices. So for us to be comfortable, maybe you take up these issues with the national government as one of the executive, the involvement of the elected leaders in these programs, especially the ones run by the national government, or anything that the national government is doing, let us be involved. Let us know what is going on. I will leave it at that. Maybe I'll
thank you very much. I think those are good questions. I think we'll give the CS to give a response. But just to maybe make a comment following from what you've said. A colleague of mine once called me and from West Pokot County, member of parliament, and asked me, I'm hearing that the CS for ASALs is coming to West Pokot, and particularly his constituency. So he thought I knew, and I told him I'm not aware. But of course the CS didn't go. But he was saying he has heard that the CS would be there to distribute relief food, but fortunately the CS didn't go. So, Madam CS, I think there is a lot, especially from this committee, that we are working together, that we need to get a way of working together as you, the executive, and us as the committee of parliament. And I think much of this will come in the retreat when we get to Naivasha from tomorrow, and then on Saturday we will get that. So otherwise, welcome, and I'll just respond to the issues raised by honorable members. Thank you.
Thank you. The CONDMA will talk about the cash transfers and how it overlaps with food distribution. And the Secretary Special Programs will talk about the last to respond to the question on how the drought is being managed and the role of the office of the Deputy President and our ministry and the accountability there. So His Excellency the President has given the overall coordination mandate on drought to the Deputy President. But the ministry is then tasked with the role of drought management, including special programs and purchase of food and distribution. So accountability in that regard, especially the contribution by the national government, then rests with the ministry. The Deputy President is also having the mandate of coordinating the development partners and the private sector. The development partners have not been giving the government support in terms of money. It is in terms of programs and food transfers. And the development partners and some of the NGOs, especially the international ones, also have a link with the county governments and the local leadership. But at a national level, where there is need of coordination, then the Deputy President does the role of coordination. He chairs a monthly multi-sectoral meeting involving the ministries, because drought cuts across many ministries, not only our ministry, but the Ministry of Water, Agriculture, Wildlife, Health, Interior, and all these ministries. We have a coordination meeting that he chairs to look at the drought situation. We report on the interventions that have been done, challenges we are facing, and then we plan for what else to do. So all that activity is going on, chaired by the ministry. The other question I would like to answer, part of it about the money transfer, and the question whether the people getting the cash transfer are able to buy food. Mr. Chairman, I've been on the ground, and I think the markets are thriving. They haven't collapsed completely. And last week, but one, when I was in the field, I visited the market, and I saw some of our people would need cash to buy the food. Because the relief food can never be enough fully. It alleviates and gives a bit of relief, but cannot fulfill all the needs of the food that is required. And so the cash transfer comes in very handy. I believe that in future, if we have a very robust and strong cash transfer system in this country, it could be a better way and reduce the relief food with all the logistics, but a lot of work needs to be done to mature that. And Honorable Chair and members, I've been on the ground. I've been to many counties, and we are planning to go to Mandera towards the end of next week. I fully associate myself with the pain, especially the mothers and children are going through this drought. I have interacted with them. I have touched them. We have talked, we have hugged. And I did an article earlier in the week, how moved I was to see very strong people, resilient in terms of spirit. In fact, when I was going there, they gave me more motivation than I thought. And so, Mheshimiwa, I want to tell you that I'm really connected with the people who are facing the drought, and I fully appreciate, and I have been on the ground, and I continue to do that. Mheshimiwa, it's only that you cannot be able to go to all the counties, but the target is to visit as many as is practically possible. We have covered quite a lot of ground in that, and we continue to do that. And that's why, for example, maybe you are invited when there was food distribution. We have other members, even in cabinet, and other leaders who assist us and who are on the ground. But above all, from where I am, the most important thing is to have that food. Whether we have food, people to go preside or not, the most important thing is for the food to reach the people. And where we are able, we will be on the ground. One of the requests that we shall be discussing in further details with this committee, the support for us to even have our own officers, more officers on the ground. Because we buy the food, we have partnered with the Ngao officers under Interior, which is working well, but with some of the challenges you have highlighted. If our staff complement and establishment is worked on, then we take full accountability, come up with processes and procedures that are agreed on, and we get real-time reports. We know we have NDMA officers on the ground, but probably not enough. And we have a whole organogram that we are proposing. We shall share with the committee and see how we can strengthen the whole of this process. But a lot of work is going on in that regard. Let me allow the two gentlemen to respond, but before that, I wanted to talk about the long-term measures that the government is working on, because droughts will not end with this one. Climate change is real, but we cannot always be at the same crisis, the same emergencies. And His Excellency the President, and even the plan and the manifesto, there's a whole chapter on the dams, because drought is lack of water, the provision of dams. The plan to have about 1,000 dams, starting with 100 dams. I have had a meeting with the Ministry of Water, wanting to see which dams will go to the ASALs, because they are the ones that are suffering most. I've also seen plans on boreholes. In fact, the private sector-led drought steering committee is right now working on about 360 boreholes. And so we are working, and when we have a retreat on, or when the long-term measures on ending drought emergencies are fully completed, we will share with the committee, but to assure you that a lot of work is going on in the ministry. We have a lot of support from development partners. USAID is a strong one, World Food Program. The EU, in fact, we are launching some grants from the EU to build some of the dams. And so there's a lot of activity, and I'll be very glad to share all the details with this committee, because this is the committee that will support those initiatives, the long-term measures, and it will be good that in your tenure, Chair, we will at least have evidence and show real projects that we have put in place to alleviate the suffering in future of the droughts that may recur. But with your permission, let me allow the CEO of NDMA to respond to that question of the cash transfers and how it overlaps with the actual relief food distribution.
Thank you very much, Chair and Waziri. In terms of cash transfer, when the process of registration took place, it is on two levels. it is a system-based registration where the beneficiary answers various questions, and based on that, the person is categorized. When data is generated, then we do what is called community-based validation. We go to the community, up to the world level, up to the village level, have the baraza, put the names on the notice board, and give them 7 days to review. And then we go back in the same baraza, the people will say, yes, so-and-so is the poorest, so remove so-and-so. So based on that data is where now people are grouped into 2 groups, group 1 and group 2. And by extension, those are the poorest, the very poor families within that community. So that's how it is done, the targeting. And that payment of scale-up can only come up based on the drought situation. How the drought evolves is when now we undertake the scale-up. But I would like to speak to the issue of coordination which the CS has captured. At the county, there are 2 levels of coordination, at the national level and the county level. At the national level, NDMA deals with the technical. And the other coordination of the partner, development partners are done by the ministry as well as the DP's office. At the county level, all non-state actors operating. At the moment, we have 92 non-state actors operating in the counties. They are registered through the CSG, where they declare the kind of intervention of the investment that they want to do. And it's the CSG that gives them the go-ahead on the areas to target. So that's when it comes in terms of the intervention. And the chairman of the CSG is the governor, assisted by the county commissioner. And that's why you find whenever we have an intervention, we declare at the CSG, and the governor is there, so he's there to launch that intervention. But there's no law which stops. The coordination structure has not exempted or has not excluded any leader to attend. I've been to a number of CSGs. The MCAs attend, even members of the parliament. So there's no law that will stop you not to attend the CSG. The only thing that you need to maybe to get to know is the calendar of the meetings. There are the program meetings and the impromptu meetings. So if only you can engage the secretariat. NDMA is the secretariat assisted by the deputy county commissioner of that county and the county secretary. So if only you get the schedule of the meeting is where you go and listen and even air your concern and say, yes, you have targeted this place, but me being the member of parliament, understanding the environment, this place could have been the most ideal. But our targeting is informed by a system, the early warning system, where we have categorized even within the county, sub-county, up to the world level. We have categorized the hotspot, including the number of beneficiaries. And that is how the targeting is done, even in terms of even food distribution or cash transfer from other non-state actors. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Waziri and Chair. I want to start with the easy one about the delivery of food for the whole month of Ramadan. I would want to confirm that we have developed a list, just like we did last year. Last year we delivered